Marvel continues to plug Destiny of X as being the next big thing for the X-Men starting in spring 2022. One of the most recent promo material bequeathed to us is a super short video that flips between all the previously released teaser images of the heroes and villains in their various states of happenstance. It then ends on the big group shot of everyone who is supposed to be playing a major role in this brand new X era. This is the second video in my Destiny of X analysis series, and in this one, I'm going to be taking a look at that big group photo, as well as the scarce details that have been released alongside it, and try to interpret and theorize what it all might mean for the characters involved. In my first video, I analyzed each of the individual X character teaser images, so if you're interested in my thoughts on those, then please be sure to check that out. Destiny of X is the next era of mutantdom that takes place within this age of Krakoa, and it is set to follow Reign of X, which is wrapping up with Inferno and the 10 lives and deaths of Wolverine series. The Wolverine event is going to thrust Logan into various points in time to prevent the death of a mysterious key figure in mutant history, and to me, that suggests that he's probably going to be protecting Moira in her various past lives. A word of caution, if you haven't read Inferno number 3 yet, I'm about to get into some major spoilers, so make sure you pause the video until you finish reading that if you don't want to know what happens. We don't know exactly how the Inferno series is going to end yet for Moira, but things certainly haven't been going her way lately. Her big rule of no clairvoyant resurrections was broken whenever Mystique secretly resurrected Destiny, and that was just the tip of the bad news for her. Xavier and Magneto revealed Moira's existence to Emma Frost, who really didn't take too kindly to the whole keeping secrets thing, and so in the latest issue, she informs Destiny and Mystique of the news, and they take matters into their own hands by kidnapping Moira, torturing her, and laying a trap for Magneto and Xavier with Orcus. On top of all of that, it was hinted that Doug and Warlock have been aware of Moira's existence in her no place this entire time on Krakoa, and have been voyeuring on every decision that has been made by her and the two mutant kings. With Destiny aware of Moira's existence and of her powers, and with a rogue White Queen on the loose, and with Cypher secretly knowing what's up too, it really looks like Moira's days might finally be numbered by the end of Inferno. Moira is currently on her 10th and potentially last life, hence why she is so committed to getting this one right. So if she does die here, then I predict it will be Wolvie's job to go into all of the other timelines that Moira has lived and try to protect her from dying so that they can bring her back here or something. Maybe this will even spawn into Moira's mythical 11th life. I can't see why else Marvel would have published Destiny telling Moira that she maybe has 11 lives if she plays her cards right, if they aren't going to actually give her an 11th life. So maybe this is the way they go about it in like a typical time-bendy, paradoxical, rule-bendy Marvel way. Alternate realities are nothing new for the X-World, and certainly not for the Age of Krakoa, so if Wolvie's cross-time caper is to protect Moira, then I think another interesting possibility to come out of the Inferno series would be if Destiny ends up being the one who puts him on that path. She's been played up as Moira's arch nemesis pretty much all throughout Krakoa, and even though she's getting her revenge on her right now, I think a funny little twist would be if by the end of Inferno, Destiny successfully kills Moira, but then has a premonition of disaster, and she realizes that she made a mistake and that they need Moira alive in this reality after all. Moira has been so terrified of having Destiny resurrected that it could be a fun flip of the script to have the two of them working together in some respect, or at least Destiny working in service of Moira's continued existence. But whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the rest of Inferno is going to shake up the status quo and usher in this brand spanking new Destiny of X moment. In the grand tradition of pre-era launches, we have been gifted this gorgeous group photo of the X-Men and X-Friends striking their fiercest Krakoa pose. Marvel released a similar type of group photo for all the other major X events in the Krakoan age thus far, just like the very first one of Moira sitting at a bench surrounded by people for the Dawn of X launch. There was also the one of everyone jumping to arms for the X of Swords event, and then the collage-y one for the beginning of Reign of X, and then the throwback to Moira sitting at the bench again, only angry this time, for the Inferno event. Not always do all the characters in these promo images end up becoming part of the larger story as they tease, like Baby Havoc from the Dawn of X promo, who never showed up, and Grey Crow's gun sword from the X of Swords promo, that was never a thing. So anytime we see these great big group promo shots, it's always important to remember that not everything we see is necessarily what we're going to get, no matter how much we may want it. That said though, it's still fun to speculate ahead of time, and so that's exactly what I'm here to do. This promo image features 38 of the X-Men's finest, in addition to having the name of 9 book titles listed at the bottom of it, some of which are brand new and some of which are continuations. And I thought it would be fun to predict who from this promo image is going to belong to which book and which team. So without further ado, let's get into it and start off with one of the new titles that was just announced, Immortal X-Men. The Immortal X-Men series is going to be based all around the Quiet Council. It's the High Rollers book, if you will, and its focus is probably going to be on the ever-evolving relationship between Xavier, Magneto, Mystique, Destiny, and Emma. At the end of Hellions number 18, it sounded like Emma was ready to take Sinister down, so it feels like he might be the focus of some sort of plan that Emma may hatch in order to remove him from the Council forever. It does seem like the villains are starting to gain more and more power on the council, which is a development that I am totally here for, because those are the kinds of shady storylines that I love to read, but I'm also very curious to see how the latest council member, Colossus, is going to stack up in this book. After much of the council was strong-armed by Mystique into voting Destiny into the fold, Colossus was a welcome surprise to help balance out the onset of villainy. Little do they know, though, is that Colossus is actually being manipulated by his brother Mikhail and the Chronicler. So even though the heroic side of the council thinks they've gained an ally, they've really just gained a mole. Marvel released its own separate promo image for Immortal X-Men, and it features the whole Quiet Council gang along with some Rockeye mutants and others like Lockheed and Mistress Death. The Quiet Council has a lot of fun personalities, and even though people like Nightcrawler and Kate will probably be busy in their own books, I'm excited to see how everyone interacts here, especially my boys Sebastian Shaw and Exodus. I also have a feeling that Hope will be featured prominently in this book. Given her teaser images, it feels like she's on a trajectory to join the Council, or at least replace Xavier in the Resurrection protocols, so this feels like the place where she'll likely be showing up for most of Destiny of X. Another new book to be announced from this promo is X-Men Red. No information has been given about X-Men Red just yet, but there are a few theories as to what it could be about. The most popular theory is that this will be the spiritual successor to Sword, which I guess is going to be ending, and that it will feature Storm leading a new team composed of Arakko mutants, and maybe even some offshoots from the main Sword title like Mr. Cable here. We've been getting some pretty fun glimpses of Arakko and their new dynasty on Mars, and how Storm's role as regent has been both diplomatically accepted and challenged by the locals. The Arakko mutants are all very cool and unique, and they seem to have pretty distinct voices and power sets amongst them, so I think giving them a title of their own would be a great decision for Marvel, and it would be all the better if Storm was the leading lady for it. Obviously, this theory stems from the word red, as Mars is often referred to as the red planet, but I have a theory as to what this book could be about if it's not that. X-Men Red was the title of a 2008 series starring Jean Grey as the leader of a team of X-Men, and so, in the spirit of this legacy, wouldn't it be something if the new X-Men Red series was a book that centered around Jean Grey's clone, Madeline Pryor? Madeline was resurrected in the Swan Song issue of Hellions number 18, and though it breaks my heart not to see Hellions as a returning title for Destiny of X, X-Men Red could be a spiritual successor to Hellions instead of to Sword, and feature a new team of bloodthirsty miscreants who have to do the devil's work that not even X-Force is willing to do. Some of the other characters from this promo image that could be involved in such a team are people like Omega Red, who could likewise be putting the red in X-Men Red, and even Deadpool and Shatterstar. All these characters are associated with ruthlessness, though I predict Shatterstar will mostly be used in a different new title, namely the Knights of X. We don't have any information about Knights of X yet either, but let's be real, this is clearly the successor to Excalibur, which is a book that will not be surviving into the new era. The last time we saw Betsy and the Excalibur gang, they were defending the Starlight Citadel from Arthur and Merlin's attacking forces, and even the getup of that team was a stark contrast to what Excalibur first started out as. It had people like Shatterstar and Bay and Megan and Brian fighting alongside the regular Excalibur team like Betsy, Richter, Gambit, and Jubilee. If we consider that the Excalibur series was really a book all about the Braddock family and the relationship to Otherworld, then maybe the Knights of X series will finally start to break away from that lore a little bit and give some of the other characters their time to shine. Personally, I think the best thing to do with a character like Jubilee for that series is to start distancing her from Shogo so that she can finally start having her own identity again. It does kind of feel like it's headed in that direction anyway, with him really enjoying being a dragon in Otherworld. Jubilee's character has been non-existent since that baby showed up, and while I'm all for her being a single mother, my only wish here is that it didn't utterly define everything about who she is. There have been single mother superheroes in Marvel done before and done very well, like Julia Carpenter as Spider-Woman, where the character exists as an individual in addition to being a mother, and really that's what we want from Jubilee. But since Jubilee isn't even in this promo image, maybe she doesn't even make the cut for the new team at all. Gambit and Richter are still in their Otherworld costumes, so there's always the chance that the Excalibur team does end up staying in Otherworld and basically become Knights of the Realm over there, which, I don't know if it's what I'm personally here for. The last of the new series being announced is Legion of X. We already kind of knew this one was coming, as at the end of the Onslaught Revelations one-shot, there was a promo image teasing Nightcrawler, Legion, Blindfold, Juggernaut, Pixie, Dr. Nemesis, and Forget-Me-Not as the Legionnaires. This series will obviously be a follow-up to Way of X, which was a book that sought to explore the philosophy behind Krakoa's 3 laws. I was into Way of X for the first little while because I thought it did a good job of balancing the philosophy with some humor and some action, and it gave us some great cameos from characters like Dazzler and Dust and Stacy X, but I do think it lost its way a little bit towards the end, and by Onslaught Revelation, I wasn't really practicing what it was preaching anymore. This team is set to be a team of mutant cops that operate inside Legion's head. I'm not sure if they will only be fighting psychic threats, as that's what Onslaught was, and it feels like a title that will be very astral plane-y, but none of these main characters that were already announced are psychics really, so if they are bringing someone else onto the team, then I think that might be where Rachel fits into this promo image. Rachel doesn't really have a series to call home right now since X Factor ended, and though she's been busy in the Trial of Magneto series, after that wraps up, I don't think she has like a set future yet, so I'm thinking the Legion of X might be her new calling card. So that's it for the new X titles. The only other series to not seem to have a spiritual successor here is the X-Corp series, which I really wanted to love because it had a great cast, but the issues were just so boring, so perhaps it's for the best that we lay that title down to rest forever. Now let's have a look at what's returning and surviving into this new Destiny of X era. Marauders is coming back, though it isn't with the Marauders we currently know. A while ago, Marvel released a news item about the Marauders Annual #1 issue, which is set to be released in January, and in it, a new team of Marauders will debut consisting of Marauder mainstays Kate and Bishop, as well as newcomers Psylocke, D'Ken, Aurora, Tempo, and Somnus. They're going to be fighting Brimstone Love, who is a villain who first debuted in the 90s in the pages of X-Men 2099, and if you don't know who that is, you can watch my video where I go into detail about him and his power set. I think this new team of Marauders will be great, and I'm really excited about it. I am mostly keen on seeing how Psylocke and Kate interact, as I don't think Kwannon is interested in taking orders, and since this is Kate's ship, I assume she'll still be at the helm, and I hope there will be some drama there. I am also a huge Tempo fan, so I think it will be awesome seeing her more frequently, though I'm a bit bummed that she's not in this promo image, because I guess that suggests that she's not going to have a huge role in the new era. I think there's going to be some inevitable love triangleness as well between D'Ken, Aurora, and Somnus, since Aurora and D'Ken are still an item, as we've seen in the Trial of Magneto, and D'Ken and Somnus have a romantic history as well, so I'm sure there'll be all kinds of mutant melodrama to go along with all of the marauding. The other returning books don't really give us a whole lot of build-up or expectation in terms of where their new directions will go. X-Force is sticking around for better or worse, and I'm assuming it's going to be much of the same characters involved in it, like Wolverine and Domino and Beast, and I expect that Forge will probably also join the team full-time as well. It looks like we're getting closer and closer to figuring out exactly what has been going on with Beast lately and why he's been so morally compromised. All series long, Beast has been shown to be the main seller from the Jerk store, and he's done all kinds of shady shit, which I know a lot of people hate, but which I'm personally loving to see. I think this is the most interesting his character has been in a long time, and I'm happy that we're starting to get into the nitty-gritty of what has made him this way, like when it was revealed that there was a mini-man flittering about inside his body. Even the latest issue of Inferno shows him being a bit in touch with his dark side when it shows him having poor little Doug Ramsey do some gross stuff with cadavers in order to grow a specific Krakoan flora. So if his mood swings date all the way back to the pre-Krakoa age, then it feels like unraveling the Beast mystery might be the big arc for X-Force in Destiny of X. Maybe it'll take somebody like his good friend Bobby to get involved with X-Force in order to help Hank see the light again and bring him back over to the good side with some of that old Iceman humor and levity. The main X-Men series really just feels like it has been amping up to its first arc with the High Evolutionary and that casino planet, so to change anything now would be such a disservice to it and the characters. I can't imagine that we'll be getting any major team shakeups here, aside from maybe Polaris, who hinted in the last issue that she doesn't plan on being on the team forever. Polaris has actually been one of the highlights of the series, so it would be a shame if she left so soon after being elected onto the team, and a little disrespectful given that there were several other great candidates who were up for the gig and would have made great additions themselves. From this promo image, obviously the X-Men title is where Cyclops, Jean, Synch, and X-23 will be strutting their stuff. I can't readily predict that anyone else here will show up in that title since the team is really still figuring itself out, so hopefully we don't get a ton of changes with it just yet. The New Mutants also feel very poorly represented in this promo image. The only ones here who I can really see as being major players in the series are Magik and Sunspot. All of the other characters who could be considered New Mutants adjacent, like Blindfold and Richter and Shatterstar, will most likely all be busy in titles of their own. The only other character here who could fit the bill with the New Mutants is Hope, but I doubt she'll be showing up here. No offense to the New Mutants, but Hope spending time in that series feels a little low stakes for her these days. Sunspot will be freshly off leading his Secret X-Men escapade, which is a one-shot that is taking all of the losers from the X-Men election into space to deal with an intergalactic threat to the Shi'ar. So I'm thinking that the New Mutant series might follow whatever happens there, and Sunspot will be the team's new leader, and they'll probably end up getting stuck in space again for a while. I actually really enjoy the current storytelling technique for New Mutants. We're getting stories with some of the classic characters like Danny and Wolfsbane, but it's interwoven with newer New Mutant characters like Rainboy and No Girl and Cosmar. These are characters that are in dire need of page time in order to learn more about them, so I think it would be a disservice to the title if it ignores the newer kids and decides to go back to focusing only on the older team. There's no indication that that's what's going to happen, but not seeing any of the newer generation in this promo image does sound a few alarms for me, so fingers crossed that I'm wrong about that one. And then the final series to be announced as part of this Destiny of X launch is Wolverine, which is a solo series, obviously starring the man himself, Wolverine. I don't think we need to interpret too much of who is going to be involved there, except maybe some of his old rivals like Omega Red and Deadpool will also be making appearances. Deadpool and Juggernaut are currently starring in the digital-only X-Men Unlimited series, which isn't a title that's being advertised here, so I'm not sure if that's going to be continuing as an online exclusive or if it'll be culled with the rest. Another title that isn't showing up here is X-Men Legends, though that series doesn't take place in the current age of Krakoa and is all about filling in the gaps of the X-Men's past, so maybe that's why it isn't advertised here under the Destiny of X umbrella. I hope that series doesn't end, because there is still a 6-month gap story starring Psylocke and Jean Grey and their power swap that I am hoping will get published, and I will not be satisfied with that series until we get that. And so that's it in terms of where I think these characters may fall with the new Destiny of X line. I've been both wrong and right in the past with these videos, but it's anybody's guess, and I'm sure Marvel will be releasing more information about all these titles in the days to come. Please let me know what you think about my little predictions here, and if you have any predictions of your own. The title that I am most looking forward to is X-Men Red, as either way, if it's the Storm or Rocco-centric title or the Madeline-centric title that I hypothesized, I think it'll be the most exciting of the bunch, followed closely by Immortal X-Men and then Marauders. If you liked this video, please check around my channel for more like it. I do all kinds of reviews and rankings and ruminations, and it's all X-Men all the time over here, so you're gonna find something you like eventually. You can also follow me on social media where I share out daily X-Men panel scans from whatever I'm currently reading with captions that I try to make witty and clever, or you can check out all my stuff at my website, greatxmentations.com. I want to thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me today, and be sure to come back again soon for more Great X-Mentations.